So, something I can't realize that players keep doing on this map over and over, pros and challengers, is why are we not securing P4 spawns? So they do a great job holding the spawns, but I want you to just see how easily they give it up. So they do a good job. They're double teaming this guy in the back. Don't even know why fives push up so much, pushing up to get a kill. They have a 53 to 39 lead. Even they're not even gonna get majority of the time anyway. As long as you have people anchoring the spawn and you got like two guys, if as long as you have the spawns, you could keep sending two guys to just go keep being reckless. You don't even need a push up mid. But just take a look how blue plays this. How many lives they send to mid and how they all push up and they completely forget about holding the spawns and they give it up. And then this team ends up getting majority P4 time. Granted, in the end, Exceed's team won this game, but things like this, the game should not be this close if you have the spawns for it. It's a guaranteed fucking 50 at least on P4 if you have spawns. So the first guy is number two. Not really fucking faulty number two because number two ends up spawning in the back anyway. Whatever. He is getting a bit curious. Three, I don't know why after three goes and runs in there, but I can't even blame them because these people should be holding the spawns. They should not be trying to get P3 time. They should kind of just be looking, leave it up to the person to mid, if anything, to make the play. Look, so now three goes in and dies. Why do we need to do that? And now all of a sudden, 4-1, all of them are pushing up. I mean, granted, you don't want them to get a full 60 on this, but you got to think bigger picture. You allow them to get this time, and then you flip spawns and they get P4 as well. They just hit you with the double whammy that you give them. As opposed to them getting this time, you could get P4, get right back in the game anyway. But now all of them start pushing up. So now as they die, they're spawning out because now red's pushed up. They're not anchoring the back. And it should not be that easy to flip. Like, these are pros trying to get back in the pro league. And I mean, I know I've seen pros make this same mistake too, but granted, you could say it was a lot earlier in the game, but a lot of them are actually still doing it. I guarantee. We'll see when like the season starts if teams have cleaned up on this more. But the amount of lives they just like threw away and then just gave up P4 spawns, like you literally have a guy in the building. Just focus 4-1, hold the spawns. Hold the spawns. Everyone does not need to fly up. I mean, and then they just lose spawns. Pretty self-explanatory. And then take a look at this. And then red ends up getting majority time and they get a big lead, you know? So, and you get no time from this. You get no time from P4 at all because like you try to get antsy and push up. P4 is the money hill on this map. P4 and P2 are the hills where you get majority of your time. P1 and P3 are kind of just byproducts on this map. P3 and P1 are all about just making sure that the other team doesn't get it. You can get a lot of time on P1, to be honest. You really can. But P4 and P2 are mostly the money hills. P4 is like the guaranteed, like if you're down by 90, that hill gets you close right back in the game, you know? Even though Exceed's team still won the game, they could have won it by a lot bigger gap. But I do commend them with the P1 time they were able to get here. But at the same time, it came down to the other team prioritizing P2, which granted is still money hill, but you could actually afford, like P2 is a hill where it doesn't matter what side you have, you could still break. Like it's easiest hill to break just because of how the spawns are and everything. And it's a pretty open hill. You can break it from both sides. Doesn't really matter. So right here, this small thing I didn't really like is, so you're going to see number 6. So number 6, I feel, made a bad play later on, but this one was up there. This one's like a smaller thing that probably goes unnoticed. So he sees a guy throwing trophies. You should know, has to be calming that like his teammate's right there. His teammate's about to push. I feel like he should have helped his teammate there. And just like kept holding what he was holding, because right now his teammate pushes, and he should have been there, and they probably could have traded this guy out. And then if they trade that guy out, they get the guy off the hill. They kind of slow down the time and don't allow Exceed's team to get points back in the game. But Exceed's team got like 32 points on this hill. which is it's very good for a P1. And then off spawn, we're going to talk about number 6 again. So I feel a lot of players in this new age COD have like an ADHD playstyle where they always feel like they have to do something. And there's a lot of times where players just have to allow the game to come to them. Like, very simply put, allow the game to come to them. This is one of those situations where you're up by 30, however much like they're up by. You're up by 30, you're up by 20, whatever. P2, you have the spawns. All 4 of you guys are up. You could hold this. You could secure time. Just be anywhere around here. Just holding the back spawn. You can play it pretty simply. You have 5 and 7 who are able to push up on mid, push up on this side if he needs help. You basically have to sit and do nothing. And I've called this out with some players. Even like the example of a BZ on 6-star, called that one out as well. Just allow the game to come to you. You have the spawns. They need to break. Like, they need to break. They're down. They need to break. I don't appreciate this route that 6 took because he actually gave the gap open for 1 to push through. So as you can see, like, 5's now going up, like the help, fucking whatever, what comes back, I guess. But they got 2 guys watching this. Like, 6 could easily be back here with them, and he stops number 1 instantly. There was a game later where I saw a fellow, like, actually playing, like, the back, and he got a kill there. And that's a perfect example of an experienced player allowing the game to come to them. Like, they have to push you. These are things, when you have the lead, you have more an advantage. When you have the lead, it's easier to even, like, get your KD up because they have to bring the game to you. Like, you dictate the pace when you're in the lead, and especially when you have spawns for a hill. So he takes I don't know why when you spawn in the back you need to go for a pinch around your own spawn. Why can't you just hold the back? I don't understand this extra shit that players do. This whole, I have to rotate around my spawn to get a pinch on my spawn. Like, why can't you just sit there and hold it? Sit there and fucking hold it. This guy now runs, boom, he's dead. And you have spawns for next, and you're still spawning in the back. Because immediately, his teammates die, and look, now they're going to start spawning out. Now he's spawning out. Or, I mean, fuck, holy shit. Yeah, so now he's spawning out, because now 1 and 4 are pushed up in the back. Spawn, P1 still popped, so it's not going to spawn him back there, because P1's still active, which is another point I bring up, where you dying on rotation is so big. Playing your life on rotation before a hill pops is so big, because on rewind, for example, like P1 going into P2 on rewind, if you die, it's going to spawn you back P4 street, and P2's popped, you know? You need to stay alive on those P1 to P2 rotations. Any hill that requires you to spawn across, like, the map, you need to play your life for it. Doesn't matter as much for P3 because P3 is whatever both sides, but rewind from P1 to P2 is a perfect example. Near the end of P1 on rewind, you need to play your life, especially when you're going for those rotation kills, because especially when everyone's pushing up for P2 spawns on rewind. I mean, I should actually just get the example. So this right here is a perfect example. So when P1's popped, and then it's like 10 seconds left, maybe 15 seconds left in P1, and now everyone's kind of pushing up this side of the map to get P2 spawns. Anyone who dies is now spawning back here, you know? Unless, like, the other team's back here, but at this point, everyone's pushed up. So if you're the unfortunate person to die while P1's still active, you're going to start spawning back here. So it's a perfect example of playing your life on rotation. And I don't know why Mercules is going for a pinch around his own spawn when he could just easily sit in the back. Sit in the back. And then he dies, his whole team spawns out. And then, like, now blue has spawns. And yeah, look how far they are. Look how fucking far they are. They spawn in Narnia. Narnia. You know? don't need to take pinches around your side spawn. Don't need to do that. So immediately going from that, and then the other team trolls after they get the hill. So I'll even play it in 0.5. As you know, we like to play everything in 0.5. So right after they get the spawn, so they're going to get number 8 out of there. So now they have spawns. They have full control. All of Bravo is going to spawn out. And I didn't really like the setup. I mean, I did like the setup. I just didn't like specifically where number 2 was. Because he could be playing it at the stairs even, somewhere closer to his teammates. And not only does that ensure no one is going to spawn in the back, but they have to come all the way across poolside anyway. You're going to see number 1 on the hill. He's on the hill, but he's just watching the back the whole time, which also tells you what people think about these newer CODs and how unpredictable the spawns are. But you have to know, you're going to have like all 3 players in the back. If he like moves back a bit, there's no chance for them to spawn in the back when 3 guys are around this back area and you're on the hill. It'd be fucking insane. And I mean, you could easily turn anyway, but I didn't like how number 2 was pushed up, and not only that, he ended up getting a bad timing too. Him watching the pool side, I mean, not only do they have to run across the pool side, could have been a thing where maybe if he sees them, could stop them before they throw their attacks, but he is too pushed up, and if anything happens to number 4 and number 3, the spawns are easily going to flip. And 3's got to watch this, the inside, this guy trying to help poolside, but also watch mid and stairs. There's way too many cuts. There's like 1, 2, 3. You know, there's just a lot of gaps for 2 people to watch. You don't know if you're going to get like a bad timing or not. So number 2 probably should have played back more, help take the pressure off of number 4, I feel. Because they literally have to run across. The only negative about him not being there is they could just throw all their attacks and nades, possibly nade him off the hill, etc. But you're going to have a close spawn anyway. But either way, they got to walk across. Granted, they have a lot of head glitches there as well. But you're going to see. So 3 is trying to watch there. Doesn't realize he gets a bad timing. I was thinking maybe he probably could have went top useless, but maybe that could have been doing too much. Because if he goes top useless and nobody comes around the side and they all come through mid, then he's basically being useless at that point. But he got horrible timing, though. He actually did get horrible timing. So I'll play this back again. So if he just like stayed there and watched, I mean, obviously he probably doesn't know. Hindsight's 2020. That guy just sneaks right across the street. And this is something I've seen a lot of Challengers players do. Haven't seen pros do it as much where they're taking the route. Granted, pros are probably doing this in scrims, but from like the LAN that we watch, most of them just like push through mid. They get very direct with it. Challenger players take a lot more routes. Like Turo, he gets the route and he gets number 3, and him pushing up in the back spawn is going to make 3 spawn the fuck out, because now the back spawn's being blocked. 3's not going to spawn there even though he's on the hill. And there was like that weird spawn you saw in my other video where it spawned him on the hill, but I mean, when there's, it's just not going to happen. This another scenario where when both spawn points are blocked, spawns them out. So I'm wondering if when teams actually have control P2, like let's say number 1 and number 4 weren't there, and like 6 was on the hill, and you have 5 and 8 where they are, would all of blue like spawn out here? I mean, probably, but yeah, so they lose spawns instantly because number 2, and now number 2 goes from being in that corner, watching the cut. Granted, there's a streak in the air, so that's why he ran inside. Probably didn't even know he had the streak, and didn't really do much of the streak. He just killed Fame off spawn again. But yeah, now 2 left that gap open, and now number 8 just snuck up the side, and 1's just watching the back, not even watching the front. He's wholly convinced someone's coming in the back. Granted, Turo got that kill, so he's thinking he's going to fly in the back, but all of the team is alive still, so it would take some time for them to spawn in the back, and then they just get broken like that easily. As opposed to if, I mean, probably the guy, number 8 probably still got to snuck by, but if everyone was playing like tighter inside, maybe him and useless, then the streak probably would have had to go for the guy on the hill, to be honest, because you're not going to get the guy in useless, and if they're pushed up in mid, you might be able to shoot it through the windows, but you'd have to go for the guy on the hill, but he's just going to spawn in the back anyway. But Two Real did make the play going around the back, flipping spawns. And then he just gets a spawn kill on 3. And now they're all just going to spawn out because they killed number 4 and they contested the hill. So the reason why all of blue's going to spawn out is because of where number 2 is. And 4 and 1 have majority lives on like the spawn point and the hill's contested. So they're going to get the spawns for their team. And then all of blue's going to spawn out. So they basically, I mean, it felt like Yuli was doing a bit too much, but then he moved inside because of the streak, but still probably could have played a bit tighter because it's a streak on a map which is dominated by like a house. So it's kind of like, yeah, but then they're able to get that time, and then yeah, they kind of pull away a bit. But let's keep this going. So now going into P3, you know, I got some more clips from this Challengers Cup game that we're going to break down. And it's all about these Challenger players building good habits. These are things that you could get away with the people you're playing against, no offense, but like, you're going to be able to get away with doing stupid stuff on the map when you're playing people like Two Real and Mercules. But you got to think, if you're playing Optic, you're playing 100 Thieves, playing anyone in the league who's good, you know, any like the top 5 teams, Cloud9, whatever, probably going to make you pay for small things like this. So we're going to be paying attention to number 4 off spawn. So I'll actually even play this one in 0.5, so I could explain it as it's going, so it's not going too fast. So number 4 off spawn is going to spawn there. So I'm going to explain this spawn first, because you're probably wondering why he's not like there, why he's not spawning in back P4. Not only because like the hill just popped, like the hill's not active yet, but if the time is blank and you don't have the numbers back here, it will always, like, this is like the closer spawn that the game feels it should give you when like the hill's blank, but that's a whole other discussion entirely. I'll actually explain it more later, so you could keep this picture in your head for later, but it's what number 4 does off spawn here. Number 4, I feel, even though this hill just popped, he's just thinking pretty one-dimensional, like, amigo hill, you know, me have to attack hill, me have to help hill. I think the better route should have been him going through mid. Instead, he goes useless, and he has to know. He's played scrims on this map probably 100 times. Like, going into useless is going to now give them the spawns. The reason why he got the spawn here, this spawn actually makes sense. Maybe you might think it's a bit fugazi, but he's not in useless yet, so he's not completely blocking off the spawn. And they got like majority numbers down here, would not spawn them behind. It would make no sense. So giving him like a deep spawn's pretty valid for a small map, I would say. But look, after he pushes up into useless, now the guy gets this spawn in the back because now he's blocking off the spawn. And if he's pushed up further, like if he's pushed up P3, then this guy's gonna get like a deep spawn, like you'll see like a lot of times when you watch this map during like the COD League or future Challengers Cups, if you ever get to see the mini map, if there's a guy in the building and there's no one like pushed up past like at this point, it's just gonna spawn him super deep. But I feel like he needs to take the route through mid because you just need to secure P4 spawns, or you could go through mid and help, which is basically what I was inquiring to do. It wasn't inquiring to just like run through, but just don't go block out this side to give him the spawn. You could run through mid to help and just do it that way, or go super quick, but even then it might be risking the flip anyway. But if you do get majority kills here, like if they do get all 3 down and he pushes up, then this guy's gonna be the only guy that spawns back there. They could probably just like take him out anyway, but he needs to go fast. Him staying in useless and just blocking off the spawn, not good. So imagine if someone like Shotzi, someone like Hydra, you give them this spawn, you're fucked. Because number 7 does get the kill onto number 3. And imagine you have Shotzi or Hydra or Envoy or a BZ or Simp in there that now you got to worry about. Right now you're worrying about Fellow, you know, like it is what it is. No offense. But like, as you could see, if no one's in useless and you're not pushed up past a certain point, look, they all spawn deep. So number 7 gets this kill, and this is why I'm talking about challengers players needs to break bad habits early, because yeah, you could get away with it in challengers games, but when you're playing at a higher level, mistakes like this are going to cost you time. Mistakes like this will cost you time, because now, like, if Shotzi gets this kill, for example, I like to use Shotzi because he's a player that, like, is very hard to track. Now everyone's now like, oh shit, now Shotzi has a spawn, now we gotta look for Shotzi, now we're fucking tweaking, we got no control of the map. Meanwhile, all of Optics pushing up the P3 street while you're like, fuck, now I gotta go try to find Shotzi. Meanwhile, Adachi or Kenny or Pred is now pushing up the street to now help him. You're fucked. Granted, number 2 does end up getting number 7 out. Don't know how, but he does. I mean, like, they see him, but he ends up fucking actually getting the kill. And they actually do get the spawns back. But anybody else, you're probably paying for that, you know? You're probably paying for that. But, okay, so this is the other one. I think this is the other one where he spawns there. I think the reason why he got that spawn, because I say if you're in useless, you're going to flip. But I'm pretty sure it's because the time's blank. And the game, I believe, like, the game always tries to help you. And I believe the game thinks it's a more favorable spawn than that spawn, especially since there's a guy in there already. I guaranteed if 6 was on the hill, it would probably, if 6 was on the hill, probably spawn him. It's weird. I don't really have an explanation for that. I'm trying my best. But, like, bro, these spawns are insane. But I believe why he spawned there is because it's blank. I believe if a person was on the hill, he would not be getting that spawn because he's blocking it off. He would spawn in the back because they have no coverage back here. But the fact it's a blank hill, I believe it thinks that's, like, the more favorable spawn to give you. So now his whole team's gonna, like, spawn right on him. And then, yeah, so, like, they end up getting this time. I could actually put it back to number 1. They do end up getting this time, but they actually do troll half of it. And I'm gonna tell you why in a second here. So they get them all out. And basically they got 3 down. After P3 ends, I feel like number 3 now should just backtrack. Because I talk about how important it is to play your life on rotation. You know, rotation kills are very important when a new hill is going to pop. Because if you die, it'll just spawn you out. This is a perfect example. They don't really have a person blocking the back. Granted, they should still get the back spawn. But he dies so early and they're so far pushed up that it's just going to spawn him out. Like, the map's not big enough. It's not like Rewind where you could push up the street and they're still going to spawn in the back. On smaller maps, it's a lot less forgiving in that sense. So number 3 should have just ran back here. Instead, he actually gets ISO'd on the street because number 4 is not helping. Number 4 is prioritizing the cross as he should be. Like, your main job should just be to get back, make them come to you, make the game come to you, make it easier on yourself to secure the time. Instead, he dies, and now because they're flooding now, so now everyone's, like, dead except for these 2. And now they just have so many numbers back here that it can't possibly spawn them back here now. It would be crazy, but we see it on maps like Rewind because the map's a lot bigger. But on smaller maps, when you have majority lives pushed up, you know, it suffocates the map spawns a lot more. So now number 1's spawning out because now they just got so many people around here. They got no one in the back. Ideally, like, this guy should be, like, somewhere around here, but I mean, they have so many people pushed up that doesn't even matter. And now, like, they got the spawns, and they only get half the time. And the reason why I bring this up is because you should be getting more than half the time if you have spawns for it, ideally, because, you know, they have to cross at the end of the day. There are times you could just get pissed on, you don't get the time. But I obsess over P4 holds so much because of how big it is on a map like this. Because the other hills aren't really as guaranteed as this hill. This hill is pretty fucking important. But they do get a good 30 seconds from it, but that one setup now just made things so chaotic, and Bravo was able to take half the time from that, but they were able to get some back. But Yeah, could have been a bit cleaner. And if you want to talk about how bad the spawns get, take a look how bad they get on this P1. So I'm playing it in slow. I'm not even gonna pause it at all. I'm just gonna like call shit out while it happens, for you guys to see. Um, so so number 7 gets this kill. Because the time's blank, it spawns him there because he's the first person to spawn up, spawns him close to whatever the hill is. And then 5 gets that spawn. I have no idea why he gets that spawn. I'm pretty sure it's because the new hill pops, spawning him closer. And then 3 gets that spawn. It gets so confusing here. Just watch. It's so confusing here. So now 6 gets this kill. 7 spawns. Okay, that's kind of normal-ish, even though 8's kind of pushed up. But here's where it gets really fucked. I think this is where the parallels come in. So 4 and 1 spawn deep. I know I said I wasn't going to pause it, but I have to pause it for a sec because it's actually going way faster than I thought. I think these 2 should just be spawning on him. He's in the back, bro. Like, this should be the spawn for them. And then the last guy in red should spawn there. That's normal, right? But instead, spawns them deep even though this guy has, like, the back spawn. And then it gives them parallel spawns, which they're reading because they scrim this game a lot and they know that fucking fugaze. But no idea why there's parallel spawns there. Will not understand that. And the spawns keep getting confusing on this hill. Don't even know how anyone would be able to read any shit like this. That spawn makes sense. That spawn makes sense. Whatever. They're more on that side. But then 7 spawns out when his team's over here. Should just give them that side. But it's not. And then 5 spawns there. This guy's not even pushed up far enough. That spawn makes sense because he's in the back, but his teammates should have been spawning on his side. I feel they should have been spawning like back pool or some shit. Just a lot of fucking chaotic spawns here. And then this guy gets like the spawn I just said the others probably should have got. Don't know why he didn't get it. That's a normal spawn. But half of that P1, I don't know how people are reading that while they're on P. Like, this shit would just be impossible to fucking read. Like, just like shit everywhere. Makes no sense. But yeah, well, that's P1. That's P1 spawns for you. Yeah, so I'm just gonna kind of play the rest of the game through here because this comes down to Two Real making a good play. So Exceed's team had the full setup on this hill, and Two Real actually finds a gap here. 3 sees him, but I don't think has enough time to call him out. So he's right here going right down the stairs. 3 shoots at him, but Exceed does not see the gap down low. I kind of feel if 2 and 4 kind of at poolside, you should kind of be looking down here more. I don't think 3 people have to all stare at poolside. Like, you're in a position where you got to watch like the close cut, I feel. But hindsight 2020. But he knee slides right by him, goes right in the hill, gets that kill. Diamond Khan dies from far away. He actually dies from Mercules. Where the fuck was Mercules when he got that kill? Oh. Damn, did he actually kill him? Oh, okay. He was up top, just shot him through. But then Turo finds that gap, makes it through, and they completely just fucking 4 dead them. And you kind of think they're in cruise control at this point to win. But then I'm going to show you a play that number 3 fucking Faye makes in the back. Because Fellows team does a good job here. Because right when they got control, they're like, okay, we got control. They're probably going to set up for new. I like how 7 and 8 prioritizing the spawns. They're double teaming it. Gets a big kill up on Fame in the window, but they're not keeping track of lives here. So like they get him off the hill and they get him, but they have to realize that like 5's still pushed up and 6 is still pushed up. So it wouldn't really give them that spawn yet. It's just like way too early for that. And I mean, and like the hill just popped too. So they don't know number 3's there. They think they now spawn flipped all of them, but this is something I don't even expect them to read, honestly, because they're just thinking we got 4 dead. They're all going to flip. They're all going to flip. But the hill hadn't popped yet, so it's not going to give them like a close spawn. But now you see everyone else is now getting a close spawn on that side. But 3 plays his light back here because they obviously didn't track him because they just killed him. They didn't expect him to spawn in the back. But he ends up just playing his light back here, camping a corner, realizes no one's watching him, makes the play behind. on number 7, and this was like the game winning play right here. Granted, they probably should have won this game maybe a bit earlier, but and also I want to talk about these spawns real quick because they actually did end up getting the spawns, and it's because of, is it the same person as the last time? If it's the same person as the last time, shit would be crazy. If it's fucking Yuli again. Actually, I'm pretty sure it was actually number 4 last time. When he spawns here, bro, run this way. Leave Useless alone, bro. When you go Useless, you're giving them the back spawns. So he goes through Useless here. And I'm thinking, I counted the time it took him to run through there to go back out. If he just ran that way, it would actually spawn them fucking behind him. So he would actually be spawning him out. But he ran through Useless again. I don't know why people keep going through Useless. Look how long he's taking Useless. This time he's taking a run this way. He could already been past this point. And if he's past this point, they're all just going to spawn deep. But you're going to see this is exactly why they get split spawn. So he's still Useless. So 2 guys spawn there. He pushes up. And now he's past the point. And now like the other 2 spawn over here. So he gave 2 people the spawns. That creates chaos. If you watch this and don't know spawns, like watch this in real time. I'll even play like these I'll play like the commentators. They're like, oh my god, what was that?
Gonna get fellow.
I'll be the break and I'll be the flip. There it is.
Got 2. They just need that guy. That's
There's the
4.
flip.
Oh. No, they haven't flipped. No, they didn't flip.
4.
Well, they did. They got.
Whoa!
They're gonna get
He's not
split.
gonna read that. What?
They got split.
Oh.
Yeah, but the reason why they got flips is because he was in Useless. But they actually do end up clutching up here. After that big play he made, all ruined by a guy just for going into Useless. But right now they're swarmed here. I actually don't know how they end up fucking winning this game. I actually don't remember. I watched this like 2 days ago. 3 days ago? I think it was like 2 days ago. Gets a big kill on Neptune up here. Like, you know, and then they actually end up holding this now. Gets fucking 2 kills on the cross. And now they got this set up now. And now they just got to scramble. The other team got to scramble. They have to break. They got a full setup. 5. They caught number 5 trying to make it through the bottom on that side. They just keep trying to go for flanks like 7 and 5. Everyone just scrambling for shit. This guy's pushing up poolside. But it doesn't matter because now it's at a point where they all got to cross. Just soaking time. Now it's just like they can't do nothing but cross. And it's crazy how people start holding P4 like more flawlessly when like their back's against the wall at the very end, but they can't do it when it's like an even game halfway through. Like you don't have to even like the games don't need to be this close, you know? But that's great for them for clutching up, but stop going through Useless on P3, bro. Stop going through Useless. Go through mid or go around Useless in the front side. Just try to get away from Useless so you have them spawning back P2. That's my tip. But yeah, hope you enjoyed that small breakdown. More breakdowns to come.